is absurdly early on a Saturday for me to be up, out and at 'em. But today is a huge day, huge! I am on my way to London for a very special meetup. This is a real pinch me moment. I am going to the Booktuber meetup. I have watched these on lovely Booktuber channels that I follow and really loved seeing them all get together and seeing who goes, and kind of really aspiring to do that one day. And then I started my own Booktube channel, but it was still kind of beyond the likelihood that would be me, and today it's me. I'm going. I cannot wait. There are going to be some of my absolute favourite booktubers there. Not everybody. It's a compacted bijou group, which is lovely. The gorgeous Katie at Books and Things organises these. What an absolute star. So usually, as you'll have seen, because you, like me, will have watched them before, usually they do lots of book shopping and have lunch together. This time Katie's doing something a little bit different. She's organised for us to have lunch together, which will be very nice, and then we're going to like a cafe space where we're going to do some reading sprints together, which will be so nice. I mean, what a lovely way to spend an afternoon with fellow booktubers. Now, to caveat that, Charlie from Charlie Brooke Reads has gone rogue, as is her wont, and she's arranged for a couple of us who are getting into London a bit earlier to meet up and go to a bookshop, because why wouldn't we? So I'm going to take you with me. Now I'm going to set expectations now, because again, like me, you will have watched these before and you'll have seen people start off vlogging and then they don't end up getting loads of kind of like video material, because I'm assuming everybody's just too busy having a really lovely time, and that may well be the case. I also don't want to be a dick. Like, if people want a day off from being in front of a camera, I'm not going to be like, I don't want to be that person. It's my first time. So yeah, I'll take a little bit of video footage, but probably not loads, but there's more. So today is a big day for that reason, but it's also a big day because later this evening I am going to the theatre. Now there's a bit of story time to come with this, because so I'm a big fan of Cabaret, the musical, and I'm a huge fan of Billy Porter. And when I saw that Billy Porter was going to be performing the lead role of MC in London's West End's version of Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club, I was like, I have to go, and I did. So my brother got his tickets. I mean, it's an incredible production, right? So they set the theatre up as if it's the Kit Kat Club. So you go in through the stage door, and they have like performers in the kind of like bars as you're waiting. They have like tables, like side tables set up like a club around the front of the stage. It's super cool, super cool. So it's a production that I've been interested in seeing anyway. And then when Billy Porter was going to be the lead, I was like, no brainer. So my brother and I went. I am beyond excited. The build-up has been massive, and we get into the theatre and we see the cast board and Billy is not on. I was so gutted, so gutted. So I have seen the production, but I still haven't seen Billy in it. And then I've entered the lottery a couple of times, and another time I was in London, I was trying to kind of get hold of the box office to see if he was definitely going to be on. So if he was definitely on, then I would have stayed around and got a ticket. But anyway, none of that kind of came off. It's getting to the end of his run. I think he's only on this weekend and maybe next weekend. I think it's until the 20-something of May, so it's not long. And a few things kind of align. So my boss was talking about she's also a Billy Porter fan. She was talking about a interview that she'd heard him do, talking about this production and how he had applied to be MC loads of times in the past because it was a role that he was really excited about. He was never cast in it because it was never considered appropriate to be a role for a black person, and this is a really kind of like monumentous and historic production because both the leads are black folk. So Billy Porter is MC and Marisha Wallace is Sally Bowles. So he was saying like they're making history, and it was like really bigging up the production. I was like, oh my god, that makes it even more kind of like important and vital that I go and see this. So there was that. And then I was chatting to my brother and he was like, look, just book it. If you don't, you're going to regret it. And that's generally how I try to approach decisions that I'm not sure about, is, you know, whatever outcome comes with the least amount of regret, right? And I probably would regret not going. So there was that. And then I saw this advert, which I will insert here, and that was it. It's like, yeah, okay, book. So I'm going tonight. There is no guarantee that Billy and Marisha are going to be on. I am trying so hard, and have been all week since I booked the tickets, to keep a real lid on my excitement, because I don't want to get there again and be really sad that, you know, for whatever reason it's the second cast again. So I'm just quietly holding a flame of hope in my heart that I get to see my bud Billy Porter tonight. Yeah, so that's why it's a super big day on all counts, and that is why I am out of the house before 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. So I will take you with me for some of it. Oh, also just this might end up being a really shit vlog, sorry, because the Kit Kat Club, the theatre, so it's super cool. I alluded to that when I was explaining it. So you go in the stage door as if you're going down into a club, and you kind of like go down like basementy steps, and it's also the theatre of the whole thing is so immersive. It's incredible. And they give you a shot on your way in. Yeah, it's super cool. However, they don't allow any filming or photography. They put a sticker over your phone camera when you go in, so I won't be filming anything like inside the theatre. So you will see me kind of like potentially a shot of the theatre from the outside, and then you'll see me afterwards either beside myself elated or very sad. So, you know, that adds a little bit of suspense, eh? Yeah, okay, so I am now going to stop wittering on at you. I'm going to concentrate on my driving, and I will see you when I get to London. Charlie, show us what you've got.
As recommended by you, by them.
Here having the most delightful time, obviously. We've been for lunch. I've had a very surreal time meeting everybody because I feel like I know everybody really well, and I'm like, hey, and obviously most of these people have no idea who I am. So that's been really funny, but everybody's gorgeous, obviously, as you would expect. Charlie has gone rogue, as I said, and dragged us to a couple of bookshops. Dragged us like that needed much arm twisting, and now we have come to the most bizarre spot. It's called I can't remember what it's called, and it's basically this really weird eclectic space that's like got plenty of really comfy chairs, and like we're all sat downstairs, and there's like a bed area, there's a ball pit, all doing some reading sprints together, which is lovely. I'm reading Whale Fall by Elizabeth O'Connor, which I'm buddy reading with Joy of Books, and we are, I would say I'm a third through. This is about, it's set in the 1920s on a really remote Welsh island, and it's got a very sparse population, so it's only a population of about 30 or 40 people. Manard, our main character, is an 18-year-old girl, and she's somewhat kind of like pining for what else is out there. She's considering going over to the mainland and training to be a teacher. She keeps herself well educated. She knows she's taught herself English and also has learned English at school, whereas her younger sister isn't interested in learning English. She just wants to kind of like bomb about and be a young person and dig about on the beach and that sort of thing. So that's the setup. And then two people arrive on a boat on the island. They are English folk, a woman and a man, and they have come to the island to study it and study its population and culture. And they have just asked Manod to help them because she can translate for them. So that's where we're at. It's very interesting. It's really lovely to read. Some beautiful language in here, but not too flowery, which is exactly my type of writing. And it's written in kind of very short chapters or vignettes, but it's linear, which means that it's not bothering me. So we're here doing some sprints for a little while, and then theatre later. Good morning. It's the next day and I am very croaky and very tired, partly because of the late night last night, but also partly because my brother's cat, who you'll have seen in an earlier clip, woke me up at 4:57 this morning for her breakfast. So that was nice. So Billy was on. Honestly, I walked in. So the way that they have it set up is that it's set up like you're going into a club. So you go in through the stage door, it takes you down some steps like you're going into the basement of a club, and you kind of like go through these like back channel bits. Super cool. They give you a shot on the way in, they cover your phone with a sticker, and then you go into this kind of bar area. And they've got performers like there, like dancers and musicians, like performing just around and about as people are milling. It's so cool. Very clever. Anyway, kind of walk on through to like the main bar area. And that's where last time when we went, they had the cast list. And I had that moment of like looking at who was playing MC and my heart sinking. So I kind of like made my way to that last night, trying to keep a lid on my excitement and anticipation. And as soon as I saw Billy Porter's name, like it was like, I don't know, I felt like sick excited, you know, like it was so silly. I had that kind of like butterfly feeling in my stomach. It was amazing. So yes, he was on. Marisha Wallace was playing Sally Bowles, which is the other lead. And I just don't have words to express how incredible they both were. So when we saw it last, like, we were so impressed with the production. It's very cool. The whole, aside from like the theatre of actually going in, the whole theatre is set up so that like the front seats are like cocktail tables. It's a circular stage and it spins. The orchestra is in view and they're kind of like dressed up, and it's so incredible. It's a really, really incredible production. And when my brother and I went to see it in March, we loved it. But I just can't tell you how much it was elevated just watching like the main cast. So we saw second cast when we went, but got to see the leads last night, and they were out of this world. Like I clearly don't have the words to tell you how amazing it was. And I was expecting Billy Porter to be amazing because I love him. I've seen him in other stuff on TV mostly. I've listened to his memoir called Unprotected, which, by the way, if you haven't read that, do. It's amazing. And he narrates the audiobook. It was incredible. I can like vividly transport myself back to knowing exactly where I was in certain parts of that book because they were so impactful. Anyway, that's an aside. So I knew Billy Porter was going to be amazing, and he was. But Marisha Wallace, like, two of the songs that she sang, like Maybe This Time particularly, it's a big song. And it's incredibly emotive, and it's very varied. So some of it's very soft and some of it's like really belty. But it's very beautiful, and it often makes me cry just listening to it anyway. It's the one that Stevie sang in Schitt's Creek when they did Cabaret, if you're a Schitt's Creek fan. But as she started singing that, I kind of got goosebumps on my arms. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. But then my goosebumps spread, and I had this like whole body goosebump experience. I was like absolutely buzzing. It was amazing. And then the same thing happened when she sang Cabaret right at the very end. Oh, it was so special. I'm so glad I went again. No regrets. Yeah, it was amazing. It's only on for about another week, I think. So on the off chance, if you're in London and you're looking for something to go to, hard recommend. It's filthy, so don't take grandchildren or anything. It's very dirty. Yeah, so that's it. That was my day yesterday. Oh my God, what a day. I'm absolutely buzzing. It was so special. I had the best time meeting all the other booktubers. I am potentially going to pop to a bookshop this morning on my way home. I didn't buy loads yesterday. Huge restraint. We went to 2 bookshops and I only bought 1 book. Huge restraint. But I was conscious that I was going on to the theatre later, so didn't want to go with like bags and bags and bags of stuff. But not today. So there's a couple of bookshops local to where my brother lives. I might pop to one of those. And then I'll be making my way home. Hello, it is the next day after the day. It's Monday. I was in London on Saturday. Yes, I had the most lovely time, as you will have seen, but I have a little bit more to show you because I did do some book shopping. So before we wrap up, let me tell you about the books that I bought. So, oh no, hang on, first and foremost, if we're doing a haul, the lovely Charlie from Charlie Brook Reads brought me some tea samples to try. So when I went on the plod with Charlie and Jem, I I thought cruelly sent them some awful crispy things to try. So I sent Charlie some crisped garlic, which sounded awful. Did it for the entertainment value, but bless her, she's determined to call it a gift and return the favour with a really nice gift of some tea samples of some of her favourite teas. So and she's labelled them all. I mean, what an absolute angel. So I'm looking forward to trying those. But yes, book-wise, so first bookshop we went to was Libraria. I didn't film inside because they don't like that, but you will have seen us outside. Here's a beautiful bookmark from Libraria, and I picked up Spark by Naoki Matayoshi. This is about a failing comedian in Tokyo, who teams up with somebody who's described as a crazy genius, and they come up with their own type of weird, wonderful art of comedy. It says it's a story about art and friendship, about countless bizarre drunken conversations and how far it's acceptable to go for a laugh. I picked it up for the cover, obs. I like this colourway very much, but I will look forward to reading that. And then, so I didn't buy loads of books on Saturday because I was going to the theatre in the evening and didn't want loads to carry. So I went into Blackheath Bookshop the next day, which was gorgeous, and picked up 2 books. So the first of those is The Swimmers by Chloe Lane. This is about a woman who's 26, lives in Auckland, and she returns home to her family home visiting her aunt and her not long for this world mother, terminally ill mother, at this suburban family home. On her arrival, her mum tells her that she's decided to take matters into her own hands and end her own life. But before that, she's got some final wishes, which our main character has to help her do. I have lost words. So she finds herself navigating an eccentric neighbourhood and her complicated family of former competitive swimmers. She must summon the strength she would normally find in the water as she prepares to lose the fiery, independent woman who raised her alone. I think this sounds wonderful. It's got the potential to be both funny and heartbreaking, and that's very much my vibe at the moment. And then lastly, I picked up one from my wish list, which is Floating Hotel by Grace Curtis. This is one that I'm planning to read for a vlog because I want to say, having not checked this at all before saying this, it was Wynne from Literary Diversions said that this was a good comparison for Becky Chambers, and I am planning to do a reading vlog where I read books where people have said this book is like one of my favourites. So I picked this up. It's about it does what it says on the tin, I believe. It's about a hotel in space, a floating hotel. Welcome to the Grand Abiona Hotel, home of the finest food, the sweetest service, and the very best views in the galaxy has to offer. Year round, it moves from planet to planet, system to system, pampering guests across the furthest reaches of the Milky Way. The last word in suborbital luxury and the magnet for intrigue. Intrigues such as, why are there love poems in the lobby and tray? How many Imperial spies are currently on board? What is the true purpose of the Problem Solvers Conference? And perhaps most pertinently, who is driving the ship? It sounds rather lovely. It says it's quietly incredible and a joy to read on the front. So those are my books, and that was my time at here we go, here's my Libraria book, and that's my Kit Kat Club sticker that they put over your phone. One thing that I haven't shown you is that in Libraria they will stamp your book for you, which is pretty cool, so you know where you got it from. Excellent. That's it. That was my adventure, great adventure to London, meeting other booktubers, and which was a joy, and going to the theatre, which was, for all intents and purposes, a religious experience, and having a really lovely breakfast and bobbling about Blackheath before coming home. So that's it, wrapping up. A huge thanks to Katie at Books and Things for organising, and for every one of the booktubers I met. You were all very lovely. I was very intimidated, but everybody was very lovely. So that's it. I thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. I hope you're looking after yourself, and I'll see you again in the next video.